What does it take to become a billionaire? Contrary to popular belief, it isn't a strict routine, but the lack thereof that will help you on your journey to becoming a billionaire. In today's video, we're going to take a look at Alex Hormozi as he explains how billionaires use an anti-routine to win.
The paradigm shift that happened in my life when I went from looking up bankruptcy lawyers to 18 months later taking home over $1 million a month when I was 27 years old.
First off, let's start with the mastermind behind this brilliant life strategy. Alex Hormozi is a highly successful entrepreneur, author, philanthropist, and the brains behind a company called Acquisition that helps people scale their businesses. Alex explains that before his company started raking in money, he was on the verge of bankruptcy. When he started following an anti-routine, his life completely turned around as he began to pull in over 7 figures a month in income. According to Alex, people are always talking on the internet about their over-the-top, million-dollar routines as if it's a magical remedy. However, that isn't the case. What most people don't talk about is the anti-routine. 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs don't even stick to a routine because the minute you restrict yourself to a monotonous, rigid regimen, you have lost. Now let's break down what the anti-routine entails and the steps you must follow to become a successful billionaire like Alex Hormozi. This includes a mindset shift followed by clever tactics.
Anti-routine as the most productive routine that is humanly possible for you to accomplish what you want.
In layman's terms, anti-routine is basically the lack of a routine or daily repetitive motions. Alex says that many people come up to him and ask him to share his routine. They wrongly assume that a magical routine is a secret to becoming a billionaire. But that's the wrong question they are asking. And here's why. It's not a routine, but a lack of it that will bolster your success. So anti-routine is the most fruitful and productive routine that you can use to accomplish anything you want. It involves an entirely new paradigm shift, and the result is simply astounding. In Alex's words, the anti-routine changed his life in a real way, because instead of starting to do things, he actually stopped doing them. Let's talk about how you need to change your mindset to integrate anti-routine into your life.
Priorities mean 2 things cannot be equally important.
Alex explains that priorities mean that 2 different things can't be equally important simultaneously. That is literally what it means to sort out your priorities. One thing will always supersede the other because it's singularly essential. According to Alex, you can't do 2 things at the same time and consider them both important. One has to go because you have to prioritize one task that will succeed. Of course, this requires a complete transition of mindset because we tend to muddle our priorities, which is why it's so mentally challenging. So if you're saying that the 2 things you're doing are both important, it means that neither of them is. Now, that may sound contradictory, but here's the thing. If they're both important in your mind, then it means you can't distinguish between your priorities. So jot this down. You shouldn't do 2 different things with different importance levels. Pick one and say no to everything else. This brings us to the next point. Saying no is the theme of Alex's discourse, which must be kept in mind throughout the video.
Most people cannot get shit done because they cannot say no.
Alex moves on to talk about another important aspect of the anti-routine. Saying no. Yes, that's right. Now, this is an issue that most people struggle with, even Alex himself before he learned to say no. For the duration of your journey to success, or however long it takes to get there, you have to say no to many things. It doesn't have to be forever, but a season of no in your life can yield outsized results and productivity. If you continue to be a people pleaser, you won't get anything done for yourself because you will always be too invested in other people. So learn to say no because you don't owe anyone anything, and you're not obliged to do certain things that consume your time, energy, and resources.
People text you and people email you. They actually have an implied ask within the communication from you. It's actually a take. And what that take says is that there's a request to reply. All right, they're asking you to do something, which is to reply to the message.
Alex talks about the next thing from a communication perspective, and it's imperative to focus on this point. So, we're all familiar with emails, messages, phone calls, and other modes of communication with people. Alex explains means that when people reach out to you through these channels, they're taking something from you. Your time and your energy. They request you give your time to them, which can be better used for other productive work rather than replying to them all. Here, Alex gives an example. He says that imagine 500,000 people are texting you about this thing or that. But are you obliged to reply to all of them? It's impossible, because if you did that, you would literally have no time to do anything else in your life. So hammer in this point. You are not obliged to reply. You simply don't have the time for it if you want to become a billionaire. And this is where Alex shares that he simply stopped answering people during this anti-routine period. Now, this may seem like a huge offense, but here's the thing. You are under no obligation to reply to everyone. You don't have to respond to everyone. The constant texting and back and forth conversations, plus the one-off calls, are distracting and will detract you from your work.
I changed my phone number because all these people were always asking me to reply, and so there's the actual time of communication of the constant texting back and forth, all the interruptions.
Alex shares that the one thing you should do to avoid this problem is change your number. This way, you won't be bothered by the frequent messages and emails, and you can simply contact people at your convenience. And you would be astounded at how much this frees up your schedule and creates blank space in your calendar. This is precisely what a budding billionaire needs.
All of the events and masterminds and coaching programs mostly served other social, they were mostly for social needs. They were not because I had a problem that needed to be solved. And so I ended up going to a mastermind, getting what I needed, and then I didn't show up to that same mastermind for the next 18 months.
According to Alex, after going to a couple of events like masterminds and coaching programs, he stopped after 18 months. He attended the mastermind and got the information and knowledge that he needed to improve his skills. So after you know what you need to get done, start implementing it. There is no point in going back to the same coaching events and attending those masterminds, because now it's time to execute your plan. Alex says that after you have gained all the information you need, all you have to focus on is the work you need to get done and nothing else. You don't require more information. You require more execution.
From 4 a.m. to noon. Every day. I worked for the first 8 hours, completely uninterrupted.
Alex has another tactic that helped him become a millionaire at 27. That is, he set aside a time when he wouldn't be entertaining any calls or meetings from anyone. So this fixed time slot for him is 4 a.m. till 12 p.m. He would work non-stop for the first 8 hours and didn't like to be interrupted during this period. So this is a strategy that you need to employ to have a successful work streak. And that's how you leverage your time smartly and efficiently. Unless you have a great team of 20 people who will manage the tasks and run the firm, you can't let any time go to waste. So learning to leverage time appropriately is incumbent on you.
What if I said no to bedtimes that were different on weekends versus weekdays? I stopped treating weekends different than I treated weekdays.
This includes saying no to bedtimes that are different on weekends versus weekdays. Alex says that he didn't change his sleeping time on weekends in order to maintain his 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. work time. That means you shouldn't change your bedtime on a whim. So you see how this is another excellent example of saying no to yourself on weekends when you actually want to sleep in.
Well, what are the other things that you changed about your life in terms of allocating your time? What about your health? Well, during this period of time, I only worked out about twice a week, and that was because that was my minimum effective dose for working out.
So in order to be a successful billionaire, you have to prioritize and compartmentalize a lot. Al explains that he allocated only a limited amount of time and energy to exercise and workout during his anti-routine period. You can't make progress on multiple fronts simultaneously without compromising your work. Set a minimum effective dose to maintain your fitness, because that isn't the priority at the time. Work and growth are. So Alex says that he worked out only twice a week.
What about foodstuffs? So for me, it was actually more productive for me to fast 1 or 2 days a week, because then I could work and not be interrupted by the eating, preparation, thinking, cleaning of food.
This extends to food and eating habits as well. Alex shares how he used to fast twice a week to save the time needed for eating, preparing, and cleaning food 2 days a week. He would simply have coffee and bone broth. So this saves time, And it's also healthy because you can lose some fat with fasting. To sum it up, use your time wisely when it comes to health and food during your anti-routine. Now with that all out of the way, let's talk about one of the most significant anti-routine tactics that turned Alex's whole life around.
The next thing I did was I deleted all social media from my phone.
Alex explains how much time he saved after deleting all social media from his phone. And that's very true for all of us. How much do we squander away on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and so on? It's a lot. So what you can do is delete them from your phone, but keep them on the computer to post stuff occasionally. This way, you won't be addicted to the ghost thumb, constantly consuming and interacting online. You'll actually have more time on your hand than you even realize. To sum it all up, Alex Hormozi emphasizes that it isn't a secret magical routine that helps billionaires win. It's anti-routine, change of mindset, and tactics that will aid you on your journey of success. First off, prioritize the most important thing to you. Next, say no to everything that is detrimental to your entrepreneurial dreams. Moreover, you should change your number, execute and implement more, set aside a time for interrupting work, and allocate and delete social media apps from your phone. With this anti-routine mindset and strategies, you will be winning in no time at all. Let us know if you liked the video and if you benefited from the anti-routine. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.